Most of us spend a lot of time looking outside of ourselves for answers that we're always going to have to come from within. Be your own fucking guru. That's what this series is about. I'm Ryan Paul McGuigan. This is Beneath the Noise. So the search continued. While all of what I described in the last couple of episodes was going on, I was still looking for what came next. The massage career had given me about 13 years by this stage. I cared about the work and the people. But it was taking far too much out of me for some time now. And on top of the physical thing, the business had me anchored to Belfast, to that table. If I went anywhere for any length of time, I wasn't earning. No holiday pay, no sick pay. Just the quiet weight of knowing that the work was waiting for me. I'd wanted to live somewhere warm for what seemed like a lifetime. And it wasn't some vague daydream. It was a thing I'd always known about myself. So in a perfect world, I'd have this sustainable business, continuing to help people with some aspect of their health or wellness, and that I could do from anywhere in the world I choose to live or travel to for whatever length of time I wanted. That was freedom to me, but somehow the life I'd built was almost the direct opposite of that. I guess I was about 10 years in when the research for a new career idea started. First thinking about the practicalities. Since I didn't know exactly which profession or direction to take, I thought about what my non-negotiables were and went from there. That's how I tend to approach problems. Draw up some criteria, find the possibilities, investigate them properly, test things before committing. I looked at lighter massage modalities first. Those would have been easier on the body, but they didn't tick the location independence box. Still tied to a table somewhere. I qualified in Reiki at levels 1 and 2 with a view to creating a practice based on distance Reiki. Technically, it ticked all the boxes, but after going through the training and qualifying, I just couldn't see myself building a credible, sustainable practice around it. It didn't produce easily measured, hard and fast results like a decent massage does. So I found myself back at the start again. Another qualification I wasn't going to use, and the search continuing. That became the pattern for a while. There would be a period where nothing really spoke to me, and then some new avenue would start with genuine promise. I'd spend time and money looking into it, but there was always something that didn't fully resonate, and I'd go back to square one. And then the relationship ended, and what was already breaking was now completely broken. And here I was approaching 40, single, shared house in Belfast, reduced income from cutting my massage days down to protect my hands. The scaffolding had come down. The overthinking was constant. The inner critic was loud. Shame, embarrassment, anxiety about the future. All of it running at full volume most of the time. And on the outside, the business still looked fine. The clients were still coming, and nobody would have known any of it. I kept journaling, kept reading. I went to see the counsellor. I was genuinely trying everything I knew how to try. And as I said in the last episode, none of it moved what needed to move. I could understand my situation with absolute clarity. The felt experience wasn't shifting. And the search on a number of fronts was ongoing. Several months into all of that, I came across a guided immersive meditation certification. For years, I'd used meditation in the way most casual users do. The apps, YouTube videos, the usual places people start. When I needed to relax, I'd play a relaxation meditation, which did what it said on the tin. If I was having trouble sleeping, I'd find a guided sleep meditation, which sometimes helped. I tried to empty my mind for 10 minutes a few times, but that was pretty much impossible, and it felt more like an hour. It was hardly life-changing stuff, but then again, it wasn't claiming to be. And then you also have the manifestation type meditations that make all sorts of wild claims. For someone like me, I quickly chalked that up to quackery, to put it politely. manifest the life of your dreams and all of that. I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say that can be dismissed before you even finish reading the sentence. So I had a reasonably clear sense of what meditation was capable of and what it wasn't. Pleasant, sometimes useful for relaxation or sleep, but not much beyond that. But the course materials for this certification said something different. The main message was about self-discovery and about self-sourcing your own solutions to your own challenges. And that message both resonated with me strongly and fell into the realm of what I could believe meditation might genuinely be able to do. So when I found it, the practical boxes were already being ticked. Potential for online delivery, wellness space, location independent. Those were the things I needed, and this had them. And on top of that, the approach being described was something I could see real value in for people. But without quite articulating it to myself at the time, I wasn't including myself in that. I was already very self-aware. I'd been journaling for years, been through the counselling, reading, consuming information. I had a pretty good handle on myself and on my own situation. As far as I was concerned, I had my own number. What I was going through personally, 5 or 6 months post-breakup, and what I was hoping to discover about the potential benefits of this practice weren't even in the same conversation in my head. I was going to do this course, test the practice, and see if it had value as a service to other people. That was it. But I'd been underwhelmed before. I needed this practice to surpass my previous experiences of meditation, a mismatch of relaxation, clearing the mind, generally pleasant experiences, but ultimately lacking substance. But I went in with genuine curiosity because the framing was different from anything I'd tried before. During one of those early sessions, something shifted. My circumstances were exactly the same, approaching 40, single, shared house in Belfast with strangers, reduced income, all of that stuff. But what happened inside that session, I genuinely could not have predicted. I'd been judging myself harshly against a set of external markers for months, approaching 40 without the life I thought I'd have, the absent milestones, the cancelled wedding, the image I'd built of myself and projected out to the world, the version of me that had it all together and was heading somewhere. That image was shattered, and I knew it. That self-judgment had been running as a constant background track, feeding the anxiety, feeding the overthinking loop, feeding this underlying sense of being an absolute failure, and the shame and embarrassment of the whole thing that at times was genuinely overwhelming. And in that session, in the practice, something beneath all of that became accessible. It's difficult to do it justice, but I'll do my best here because it matters. But the usual thinking didn't stop. It slowed significantly. The chatter that normally runs at speed, the inner critic, the voice that makes you fearful or overcautious, the noise of everything that had accumulated over the years, it all quietened. And in that space, something came through that was different from regular thinking. It arrived out of the slowness. It felt clear in a way that didn't feel like my usual thinking, coming from somewhere underneath the noise, from deeper, from underneath the shame, the embarrassment, the fear, the anxiety, the conditioning, the invisible expectations I'd been applying to myself, the judgments I'd absorbed from the outside world and turned inward. And from that place, I saw something I'd completely lost sight of. It was stronger and more solid than I thought. It wasn't up for debate. It was already decided. This was the difference between thinking something and knowing something. And the realization hit me faster than I had the language to catch up with it. And when the words came, they were about the fact that none of those external things were what determined my worth. The relationship status, the shared house, my age, Anything I should have achieved or should have amassed by now, all of it irrelevant, completely irrelevant. That who I actually was had nothing to do with any of that stuff. It happened so quickly. What came to the fore instead was me, the human being, absent of anything outside of me. And as I scribbled the notes, which is also part of the practice, my hands couldn't write fast enough. I was realizing in real time that what mattered was the fact that I was a decent human being, that my heart was in the right place, and I genuinely wanted the best for people. That I could look at myself in the mirror, look myself in the eye, and be proud of the person I was. No consuming of any content in the universe could have given me that same felt experience. I was moved to tears. The relief of that realization, I'll never forget that feeling. The self-worth and the self-acceptance that had collapsed after the relationship ended came flooding back. And with them, the broken self-confidence and self-belief repaired. The anxiety about the future disappeared and was replaced by healthier thinking. The loop that had been running for months just quit. And I thought to myself, my God, there are so many people out there who need to experience this. Shortly after that session, around that time, there was a session that was based around what would come available to me when I finish the course, qualify, and start using the skills in the real world. And my analytical mind could see that for what it was. It was to create a vision, to work towards, to keep me motivated, because the completion rates of courses in general are terrible. So it was supposed to act like a North Star, and I knew that. But the picture and the feeling that came through that day again is something I'll never forget. I still have the journaling notes. This wasn't a picture of a someday idea sitting away out there in the distance. It came right into view. All the practical pieces were already in place. Online delivery, location independence, a service that I could see would be genuinely valuable and desirable for people. Work I could build from anywhere. And underneath that, this long-standing thing that I'd always known about wanting to live somewhere warm. The vision was all coming together. But as vivid and as important as that vision was to me, it was accompanied by the strongest feeling imaginable, that it was achievable. And it was achievable by me. I'll never forget that vision. My dream life, alongside the feeling of being capable to actually have it. Physically, my body buzzing, tingles, goosebumps, hair standing on end, a full body response that totally shocked me. In that moment, no one and nothing could have convinced me that I wasn't going to go get that. So I went on to qualify. I practiced with family and friends first, getting comfortable with the logistics and the delivery, watching what happened and learning in session after session. Then felt confident enough to progress to paying clients, starting from within my existing massage client base. The practice kept producing genuinely surprising and significant results for real people, and the results continued to validate what I'd experienced personally. I ran both the massage business and the guided meditation business alongside each other, gaining experience, gaining confidence, and building a financial runway for the next year or so. And then I actually did it. I retired from massage after 15 years, actually a little ahead of schedule. And I started to research apartments in the Faro area of Portugal, started looking at flights. Shit started getting real at that point. It was the natural progression of everything I'd dreamed of and worked so hard to achieve. But despite what I've said up until now, it wasn't quite as clean as that. Because even with the shift in my self-worth and self-belief, even with the clarity of the vision and the felt sense of what was possible, there was still a real decision to make. After all the planning and preparation, there was still an easier option: to stay. Belfast was familiar. Family and friends were nearby. The network was there. I knew how things worked. Portugal meant going alone to a country where I knew nobody. No family, no social circle, no support network. Didn't speak the language. And starting in an apartment, I could only book for the first 5 weeks without knowing the area other than what I saw online. And with no guarantee that any of it would work out. If a lack of self-belief or self-confidence was going to kick in, it was going to be now. And to be honest with you, it really did still take a significant act of self-belief, self-confidence, and courage. The shift in the practice created the vision, and it gave me the felt conviction that it was possible. But it didn't remove all the fear completely. It didn't make the decision for me. It didn't remove the risk of the thing. The decision still had to be made. And then the thing still had to be done. But when the chips were down, I backed myself to make it happen. And that gap between wanting and actually doing, between having the clarity and taking the action, is real. It's where a lot of people stay. Knowing the thing they need to do and not yet being able to do it. What it actually takes to close that gap is what the next episode is about. Thanks for listening to Beneath the Noise. If something in this landed for you, pass it on to someone you think could use it. And the next episode is there when you're ready.